Hello, this is Tim, and this is the last part of my Vampire the Masquerade review. And I'm going to start out with something called Rot's Shrek, if I pronounce that right. And that's basically the fear of light and sunlight and fire. You basically have to make a courage roll to resist it, and the difficulty varies by the situation. There's a number of successes they have, it equals the number of turns they can ignore these fears. And more courage rolls can be made whenever that time runs out. If you botch this roll, you actually get a derangement. So, I mean, it just shows you how intense that fear is of sunlight, fire, etc. You can spend one willpower point to do something for a round, other than what your instincts would tell you to do, which would be to run away from it. The willpower roll is a difficulty of 8 to gain control, and each success reduces the base recovery time of 10 minutes. So you are scared out of your mind for 10 minutes after you see the sunlight and fear. And I'll be honest, when I ran Vampire, I didn't hold all these rolls, and I think I probably should have for this fear thing with the sunlight and the fire. I think it just brings into the game just how powerful your weaknesses are, and just the fear that they are exposed to when they see these things. So, I don't know, after I ran my first campaign of it, I've only ran one I guess I've ran one Vampire Chronicle, and I ran a Hunter Chronicle with vampires in it, which was different. But after you run one campaign of it, it'll show you what you do, how you did it. Maybe next time you can do it a little bit better. But that's one area where I could do better. Back to humanity and how it actually works, and degeneration of that humanity. You roll conscience, which is one of your virtues. And if you succeed, you feel guilty. If you botch that, you get a derangement. If you fail, you lose 1 dot in humanity and conscience. And I didn't realize that when I ran it the first time either. I missed that part. But conscience, it just gets reduced. And it's up to your storyteller when they make a roll for that loss of humanity. And it depends on how you want to pace the game. If you want your characters to spiral out of control faster, maybe you only can run 6 sessions of it before the campaign's over, you would ask them to make more humanity rolls. But if you want to kind of extend that out and possibly play for years, you might want to keep that lower, the number of times you make them roll. But some of the derangements that are listed are multiple personalities, fantasy, regression, perfection, overcompensation, obsession, paranoia, amnesia, manic depression, and delusions of grandeur. And if you're a Malkavian, you actually start out with one of these derangements to begin with, and you can never get rid of it. It's in your blood. Now, I've talked about the blood bond, and that's when you drink 3 times from another vampire. And the drinker becomes a thrall, basically a servant to the regnant, or the person who has given you that blood. And basically that's a person who has regency over you. Only 1 blood bond is allowed per vampire, so you can't be blood bond to like 2 vampires. It's a powerful emotional bond. The thrall may hate the regnants, but can't resist them. It's a sort of kind of like a love-hate relationship, but they can't really go against them. Sometimes, depending on the storyteller's definition of what blood bond means, they can know the location, sometimes sense emotions, and they can be easier to dominate. It's very difficult to break the blood bond, but it is possible. And it's just something you have to watch out for when you're drinking blood from other people, because then you kind of lose a little bit of control from your character. And depending on what kind of game the storyteller wants to run, he could actually make new vampires drink 3 times from their sire, and this would make them more subservient to their sire. And that would it might be better for like starting characters, because then you could kind of reel them in if they're getting a little too crazy. But at the same time, it reduces the amount of freedom that they have, so you might not want to do that. Some other things about the game, for multiple actions, you can split your dice pool. Basically split the smallest dice pool, and but celerity can change this. Celerity makes you do lets you do other actions. The second action happens after everybody else is gone in that one turn. So it's not like you do two things right back to back. There's some time in between them. There are lots of suggestions in the game for performing certain actions, certain skills, and attributes and skill combinations. But as a general rule, it's one stat plus one skill. You set a difficulty with 6 being the average, and then you just let your players roll it and see what happens. I'm going to talk a little bit about combat. And this is an area where I think the new World of Darkness has improved upon it. Still not entirely happy with combat in New World of Darkness, but I think you could probably do some house rules and change that. So combat in Vampire, you declare your action and you roll wits plus alertness. The difficulty is 4, and that is for initiative, and you pretty much you just go in order. For attack rolls, you roll dexterity plus firearms, or dex plus melee, or dex plus brawl. And the weapons actually list the difficulty for those, for using that weapon. The number of successes equals damage. Now, the first thing people might think is, well, what subtracts from that? Is there some sort of defense or something like that? I would think for a difficult roll or a difficult shot, the difficulty number might be bumped up or down, but it really is left to the dice roll. The person getting shot at does have the option to dodge, and you basically just say dodge real quick, and you can even do this outside of your normal combat action if you haven't done anything that turn. You can even split your dice pool to allow you to use dice for your dodge and to attack. The number of successes that a dodge is dex plus dodge. The number of successes takes away that many damage, so you end up prone or behind some cover or somewhere like that. I always made it a little bit more difficult, like, you jump down, you might even hurt yourself a little bit. The dodge mechanic, I've never really been a big fan of dodge mechanics in RPGs. I don't know why. I understand, like, there's cinematic. It's just sometimes I don't know if it always makes sense. But, I don't know. It's a way for you to dodge out of the way of the bullet. The damage that is listed, you roll the weapon damage, and it's usually +1 additional for firearms. And, that also that adds the amount of damage from a very successful attack roll. So once you get hit, there's a soak roll that you can do. And if you notice, there's lots of dice rolling going on here. To soak, you basically you roll your stamina and fortitude, if you have it, with a difficulty of 6 to reduce the damage by 1 for every success. And armor has a soak listing as well, and that will add to this. So someone shoots. If they get a success on the roll, the person that's getting attacked has the option to dodge. Once they are hit, they have the option to soak. And then after all that's done, they take that amount of damage to their health trait, the health boxes. So if they take 6 damage, they mark off 6 boxes. The system can actually be pretty brutal, especially if you use some of the automatic weapons and the rate of fire rolls. It shows the brutality of how nasty a gunshot can be, especially if it's an automatic weapon. But I think this is an area where the new World of Darkness has done better. There's less dice rolling. You roll once. And I know that White Wolf is putting out, or is supposed to put out, Vampire the Masquerade conversion for New World of Darkness. And I'm really excited by that, because I think that would be really awesome. You'd bring the best of the fluff from Vampire and use the good mechanics from Requiem, which is the New World of Darkness book. There is a list of complications and adjustments to combat. Really won't go into those. There's an example of play, some NPCs and antagonists with stats. There's Forged in Steel, which is like an example chronicle, so you can pretty much use that as a template to make your own. There's a sample story adventure called Baptism by Fire. There's a small index. It could be a little bit more filled out. And then there's a character sheet, which is 1 page, which just shows you what dots to fill in and all your virtues and everything else. Okay, so I've rambled on a bit about the old World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade. And a few people had asked me, what negatives do I really think about the game? What do I think could be improved upon? And I really like the Old World of Darkness because it doesn't seem like there's as many rules and mechanics as there are in some more of the New World of Darkness things. And I kind of like that. I like the fluff of the Old World of Darkness, like I said, and I like the idea of Cain being the original vampire. I haven't really reviewed or read the New World of Darkness Vampire, which is Vampire the Requiem. But I've heard a few things about it, and I don't know. I really like the New World of Darkness, the World of Darkness core book. And I've run a few games just with the core book and Mortals. And I think I'd really be interested in that product that White Wolf's supposed to put out about bringing the Old World of Darkness clans and everything and basically translating it for New World of Darkness. I really hope they put that out. I will definitely get that if it does come out. And I really don't know that much about it, but I've heard a few things on RPGNet and some other places that have kind of piqued my interest. Like I said, the combat rules, while they work in Old World of Darkness, I think the New World of Darkness is just more simplified. It's quicker, and I don't know. I think it works better. Everything that's in Old World of Darkness works though. Like you really can run a perfectly fine game with it. I ran a long campaign using it, and I think a lot of the players prefer the Old World of Darkness clans to the New World of Darkness ones. But again, it's just a matter of taste. What do you like? And there's a lot of books for New World of Darkness and Old World of Darkness, for Requiem and Masquerade. So there's plenty of information out there if you want to play either one. Someone asked me about what do I think of the emo-ness and pretentiousness of Vampire the Masquerade, and I don't mind that, I guess. It doesn't bother me. I don't even know. I kind of like it. I like that there's music quotes all the way through the book. Some of them from bands I've never heard of, but I just like the flavor of it. I like most of the fiction. There's occasionally some fiction in that isn't that great, but for the most part, especially the introductory fiction for Masquerade is very nice. It's very kind of gets you right into the setting, and you basically just get a feel for the game. I said combat's a little meh, but it works. There's just a lot of dice rolling. I really need to check out Requiem and really give it a read through. This may sound silly, but the titles are in red, like cursive, and they're a little bit hard to read, and that formatting decision by White Wolf really kind of kept me from reading the book. I know that's kind of minor and insignificant, but it's honestly why I haven't read the book so far. So I'll need to get over that little speed bump, and then I'll check out the new game, see if I like it. Some of the other things about the game is that the clan information is kind of like there's like 3 different sections of the book that has a little bit about each clan. There is a 2-page spread for each clan, which is like the meat and potatoes of each one, but there's some other information scattered around. Also, you kind of have to find mechanical things in the fluff sections, and then they're never repeated again. So I literally went through with a green highlighter and just highlighted the stuff that I needed to know. I know that might make people cringe, but I've done that for books that I'm running a game, so I can find the information quickly. And do I like New World of Darkness or Old World of Darkness? I kind of like both. I like some of the mechanical changes, but not all in New World of Darkness. I don't like how they did it with the skills. I like the Old World of Darkness with more skills. But again, you could add skills to your game without any problem, and that's probably what I will do if I run a New World of Darkness campaign. I'll just add some more skills, so it's more intuitive. Because sometimes it seems like you have to roll 2 stats that really that's what I'm rolling for this. It doesn't really jump out at you. But hopefully you enjoyed my vampire reviews, and hopefully it wasn't too long-winded. All right, I will talk to everyone later.